Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday, and all of our guests today, including Brian Bartlett, standing by, brought to you by the Waddling Dog Pub, one of Victoria's favorite local watering holes, located 10 minutes from the ferry terminal. The Waddling Dog is the place to be to catch all NHL playoff action. With spring finally here, the Waddling Dog is excited to open their heated, dog-friendly patio. Don't miss their fully stocked liquor store and 30-room boutique hotel attached. There are countless reasons to come, sit, and hey, stay at the Waddling Dog. We're joined now by JT Miller's agent, Brian Bartlett. Of course, JT just completing a 99-point season with the Vancouver Canucks. 1 year left on his contract. Brian, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
My pleasure. Doing well. Thank you for having me.
How would you describe the season JT had?
Incredible in a lot of different ways. The point production was great. There was ups and downs, coaching changes, management changes. I think if you ask JT, the answer is probably still disappointing because it didn't make the playoffs. I think he would probably trade, I don't know if he'd trade all 99 points, but probably 50 of them to make the playoffs. So there was a lot of it. There's mixed emotions certainly coming out. It was a great personal year. I think especially because the team finished strongly. There's a lot of positive vibes coming out of there, but didn't meet the ultimate goal. So there's some heartbreak in it too.
How badly did you want to see him reach 100 points?
We talked about it a little bit. Not when he got super close, when he was probably around 85 or 90. He really wanted to get to 30 goals. I think that was something that had been important for him. He's kind of always been a pass-first sort of guy. And you look at it, he's gotten to 20 a couple times and been on pace for that. So we talked about 30 goals just as kind of an interesting landmark. But, we did not talk about 100 that much. And even 99 for number 9 is some pretty good symmetry there, too. So it was a great year for him.
Hey, Brian, his first career high was in Vancouver 2 years ago, 72 points, now 99. You've been here with him a long time, a lot of ups and downs with the Rangers. He last 2 years in Vancouver, he's just that offensive part of his game has taken off. Why in Vancouver, not with the Rangers when you look at his career?
I think more than anything, it's just opportunity and the chances that you get, who you're playing with. There's some incredibly skilled players there in Vancouver that obviously, if you're getting power play points, your power play needs to be good. You're only one of 5 guys out there, right? So that helps. You can't get to 100 without having a couple second assists and good primary assists and those ones, right? So I think it's opportunity. And, even with the Rangers and Tampa, his kind of points per 60 minutes, or if you do controls for how much time he's on the ice, his production hasn't been that crazy high compared to what it was in other places. He's just playing 8, 9, 10 more minutes than he was early in his career.
Brian, he is a hot-button subject in this city. Final year of his deal is next year. Is the goal to re-sign in Vancouver, Brian?
Put me on the spot on that one. He would like to help Vancouver move forward in a lot of different ways, and to help the team move forward, you need to be there. So I think certainly he would be very happy if we could find a way to extend this on this summer in July when he's eligible to do it. But we've not gotten too deep into kind of those discussions or anything with management there. But that certainly would be one of his goals and something that would make him happy if we could find a way to make it work.
Last week he did an article with Ian McIntyre in Sportsnet. He raved about Vancouver. A lot of his good friends are here. We didn't hear that a few weeks or months ago, Brian. Is he starting to like this city and this team a bit more than he did maybe a while back?
I think he's always liked it. I think it's always been a really positive experience for him. He's loved the city. He's loved the people. The only kind of negative stuff was not unique to JT Miller or Vancouver. It was COVID-related. Couldn't get across the border. Couldn't get the grandparents up to see their granddaughters. Couldn't, easily pop back and forth. That was really the only negative. And I think so much of that is, I think, in all of our lives was like, I live in Boston. I didn't like Boston that much for the last 2 years. I couldn't go to any restaurants or do anything, right? So it was difficult, the timing of it, that he didn't kind of get the full experience. And now that things are starting to loosen up a little bit, starting to get moderately back towards normal, you can really kind of start to do things. And even it was part of, they could barely even spend time with their teammates, right?
Yeah.
Or his wife couldn't spend much time with the other wives and girlfriends, and that, which is so much of being part of a team, being part of a community, is the people, and we've all had such a hard time with that. When in early in the year, it was pretty locked down still. So I think that's part of it. When you have kind of that cloud over you, it's hard to enjoy things. And the team started winning, right? We've all been around athletes and hockey teams, and winning cures a lot of woes.
Hey, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but contract talks, he's a UFA at the end of next season. They can begin July 1st. Is there a part of you who believes it might be a good idea to start talking to get really serious, maybe even sign something in the wake of a 99-point season?
Yes, selfishly, I think you always want to strike while the iron's hot a little bit. But at the same point, I think, is JT going to get back to 99 or 100 points in his career? I'm not sure. I mean, you got guys like Stamkos who are hitting career highs at 32, right? That's not necessarily expected. Brad Marchand gets some of his best years going. Pavelski has a good year at 36, 37. So, these guys are taking care of themselves and doing well. And I think, there's a little bit of this mythology that, after 24, 25, nobody's getting any better. I don't think that's the case. So I don't think we're paranoid and, hey, we need to get something done this year because we don't think he's going to be a good player. Beyond that, I think for any player, there's always some value and some insecurity, especially if, what he's trying to do there is help bring about a winning culture, help some of these young guys come along. It's the same as, rarely do you see coaches that go into the last year of their contract year, right? Oftentimes you'll extend them just so they know that there's that you're part of this thing. So, I think it's valuable to have those conversations. If it comes together or not, we'll see, but I anticipate that we'll at least have the conversations this summer.
And we've talked a lot during this interview about the Canucks being competitive. Brian, do you have any idea, and maybe just give your reaction, but what JT Miller's reaction would be if Bruce Boudreau left this organization?
Well, I certainly don't want to speak for JT. I don't know. I mean, we've personally known Gabby for a long time. My father, Steve, who I work with, represented him when he played actually back in the minors. So I've known him my whole life. I think very highly of him as a person and a coach and a human. And he's done a great job. The team's come a long way under his tutelage here the second half of the year. So I know he and JT have a great personal relationship and had a lot of really good kind of hockey and life conversations. So I've never heard of a person or a player or anybody who has been real pleased when he's moved on, but I'm very glad that has nothing to do with my job of having to choose coaches or structures or grand scheme sort of things, because that are difficult decisions. And I don't know what what Bruce wants to do either, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into this, but I know they did have a really positive relationship throughout this year, but can't speak for JT on that.
Pretty popular guy around these parts, Brian. Does JT see, putting aside Bruce for a second, does he see promise with this roster, with this organization?
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Really talented young players coming along there, and I think it's getting everybody kind of, rowing in the same direction, buying into whatever it is, but such good chunks throughout this year of play that look like real contenders throughout it. And then that's going to be the battle with all young teams, is the consistency of it. But I think he was really encouraged by the growth of the team this year, and excited that he was able to have a part of it.
Good info on your father. Appreciate that. Brian, thanks so much for this. Really appreciate it. All the best.
All right. Thank you, guys. Talk soon.
You bet. Brian Bartlett, JT Miller's agent. His father, Steve, used to represent Bruce Boudreau when Bruce was playing hockey.
Way back.
You heard the pause after I asked him about Bruce. After we asked him about Bruce Boudreau, you could tell he's a fan. And that goes way back, and obviously there's a bit of a personal relationship there.
Absolutely.
Sounds like, nobody in this town, I think, wants Bruce Boudreau to go, but you can add Brian Bartlett to to that list.
Absolutely.
More later today on the Canucks, as we mentioned earlier. Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin will be available to the media. A break. Donnie and Dolly, the team on Check.